they will use a number of people. They will use the arresting officer typically, who will lay the foundation for what's, the upcoming blood test. Then they've got their phlebotomist, who is typically, sometimes it's a paramedic or a nurse in a hospital or medical situation, who actually does the blood draw. Typically, it's a phlebotomist in the San Francisco Bay Area. And then they will also have someone come in from the lab to testify, sometimes to chain of custody, and also to the results that were obtained. Usually it's the person who does the testing of the blood. Sometimes it's a supervisor, but they can bring in a whole slew of people. Now, the people who work in the labs, they're pretty busy, and they don't like to come in and testify. So cases often get continued just because of unavailability of a lot of the players on the prosecution side. When you take in their trainings, vacation, being out sick, it can be a bit of a chore for the prosecution to get their witnesses in to testify about the blood testing that was done. And what we often do in that type of a situation, so I shouldn't say often, but sometimes once we've seen a video and if it looks like the test had some major issues, basically we want to challenge whether it was done in a medically approved manner. And we have won these cases before. They're difficult to win, but with the right expert on our side to testify about what proper procedure is and what was done wrong, things like they put the phlebotomist put their blood draw kit on a dirty surface or on the ground. Just maybe it's in a garage, maybe there's a toilet right next to, dirty room. I mean, things like that can happen. Whether they, properly swabbed an area or whether there were issues with drawing the blood, whether the blood draw site was contaminated, maybe the tourniquet, which, they're handling, and there's, the strings coming off the end of it, contaminated the blood draw site. There are a lot of different things where we can bring in our experts to testify about problems, because if you have contamination, what happens there is that can result in microbacteria that can increase the number when we're looking at the blood alcohol level. And that's something that needs to be shown, because that's something that can help the defense with whether or not there's reasonable doubt in a case with so much on the line and so many important issues. It's really, this is where the science comes in, and this is where a lot of lawyers out there in the San Francisco Bay Area don't want to do DUI cases because they don't understand all the science. What those of us who do understand this go through is we go through trainings and we go to conferences and we do meetings and do a lot of research, and have learned over the years how these procedures work, what's supposed to be done right and what's not. So when I get a video of a blood draw, I'm going to watch it and I'm going to go, okay, I've spent enough time in meetings and conferences and talking with experts and in doing these trials and hearings, that what I'm seeing is something that we may be able to challenge, where another lawyer may not have any idea as to what they're looking at. So this is why when you have a DUI case, you want to get someone who does exclusively or almost exclusively DUI defense work. And you want to, ask what kind of training do they do? And, have they been doing this for a while? This is not just someone who does general criminal defense can handle, and you can expect them to find a way to make your case go away when science is involved. I know people who, in fact, I used to work with an attorney many, many years ago who would rather work on a murder case than a DUI case because of the science that was involved. This is difficult stuff, and it takes a lot of time and effort and a lot of work to be good at understanding the defenses for blood draws.